Today, let's talk about one of the worst war crimes in all of BattleTech, the Kentares Massacre. This is the Geek Cabal channel. My name is Bobbie, and this is the BattleTech Bits segment where we talk about bits and pieces of the lore in shorter, digestible segments. Little things here and there. I've done a few episodes so far and trying to, find some other things that are interesting, but it can be discussed briefly. And it's not at all to knock some of the other channels that have, I think there's someone has a 4-hour video about the Warhammer battle mech. I applaud that. That's above and beyond my capability right now. So this is not at all to knock them. So just want to be clear on that. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about the Kentares Massacre, which I have mentioned before in other videos, and it's the reason that I severely dislike House Kirita. It's the #1 reason. There's some other reasons, but as I've explained in the other videos, all the factions have committed war crimes. And obviously we're talking fictional people in a fictional realm and everything, but a lot of times it's like mustache twirling evil. It's just so over the top. It's like if G.I. Joe the cartoon were actually allowed to go the distance and to see what Cobra would actually do. And this, however, is close to certain real world things, and it's just beyond petty. And so that's why this one in particular sticks with me, and why it just makes me despise House Kirita to no end. So, what's it all about? So back during the First Succession War, on Kentares 4, Minoru Kirita, who was the coordinator at the time, they had just taken the planet, or more or less taken the planet. The Davian forces were withdrawing, and comes across some scenery that he just finds to be this magnificent sight to behold. So he gets out of his battle mech, Battle Master I believe, and he's sitting there admiring the scenery, when all of a sudden Lotha Pashel, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, and I do have some notes here because names and dates occasionally don't stick with me. He's a sniper and takes a shot and kills Minoru Kirita. Now, it didn't take long for them to realize who they had actually killed, even though he was not dressed in any way to distinguish him as the coordinator. He was dressed as a colonel. But he was killed, and so the first prince got all of his men, or as many as he could, off planet as quickly as he could, because he knew that Genjiro Kirita, Minoru's son, and now the coordinator, was coming, and wanted his men out of the way so they wouldn't be a target of his wrath, because he was known as a hothead. So he shows up and just says, "Kill them all." And upon clarification, he meant everyone on the planet. One of his generals kind of scoffed at it. He had him killed. And so thus began the Kentares Massacre. On top of that, for a lot of it, he told them not to use modern weapons. So they used their katanas to kill approximately 52 million people, or 90% of the planet's population. Which is why this is one of the single worst, if not the single worst, war crimes in BattleTech history. Just the sheer scale of it. So, so Genjiro's guys just going from place to place, is killing everybody they find. One unit is predominantly wasps. They're sent in to destroy hospitals and apartment complexes, things like that. They gain such a reputation that the Davians put a bounty on their head, which is eventually collected. And the group that collects it doesn't kill just them, but also their technicians. And if I read the explanation correctly, I think they literally stepped on them with their battle mechs. So, they got what they deserved. But yeah, like this was bad. Like 52 million people. Like that's pretty extreme. And it ran and went for 157 days. From September 11th, 2796 to February 15th, 2797. So, yeah, just killing people. And it eventually got to the point, though, that a lot of the Kurita soldiers no longer had the stomach for it. They knew what they were doing was wrong. And you actually see this in real-world atrocities where only, like, your hardcore psychopaths can keep doing things like this. Like maybe at first, like, they're all fired up, but eventually, like, the nightmares hit, the voices, the begging, and, you know, real people, like regular people, they just can't sustain that for any real length of time. So a lot of units started backing off, and eventually some of them started hiding the people, intentionally not killing them, overlooking them, things like this. This is how some people survived. And then even the units that kept going considered it highly dishonorable later on. So, because according to the Bushido Code, because they're just massacring civilians. I mean, that does not fly with Bushido from what I understand of it. So, then some side effects. This also caused a rift between the Aridani Light Horse and House Kurita. The Aridani Light Horse is a mercenary unit. They tried to break their contract, and the Kuritans attacked their dependents because, like, they were working for House Kurita, like their people were on one of the Kurita planets, and the Aridani Light Horse retaliated and then took off for the Free Worlds League. So yeah, and then I believe even still they have Kentares Day, and it's in October. So they still dedicate a day of mourning to the people lost. And this is, they didn't even spare the Comstar people. Like, they were considered legitimate targets. One of the Comstar guys was transmitting all the footage he could get of this elsewhere throughout the Inner Sphere, just so everyone else would see the depths that House Kurita had sunk to. So, yeah, Kentares 4, they're in the First Succession War, 2796, 2797. 52 million people. And again, that's why I pretty thoroughly despise House Kurita. Like some of their battle mechs, but like the actual group, no. I'm not a huge Davian fan, but it would bring a smile to my face if Davian were to somehow just completely crush them. So, yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of other reasons. It has to do with how their society's built and everything. Like, it is a genuinely oppressive society. Like, it's horrific. But, yeah. I mean, not to say any of the other societies in BattleTech are exactly a walk in the park. I mean, House Lao is basically space communism with an emperor instead of a, I don't know, commander general or secretary general or whatever comic gobbledygook they'd have. The Free Worlds League is like basically broken democracy. Davian, I'm sure there's bad things about House Davian, but they're the like pseudo good guys occasionally. So, and then House Steiner is all about money. So, you know, if you don't have connections, you're only going to make it so far in the military, probably. And then, of course, the clans are a nightmare all on their own. So, yeah. Yeah, so that's the Kentares Massacre. So if you hear me reference this in other videos, and you didn't know before, like, now you know what this is. I got most of this online, but I had read it before, and the main area I got the material, like where I heard it was, I have a book. It's the First Succession War guidebook. And it's an excellent book, by the way. If it's available on Amazon, I'll have an affiliate link down there. If it's not available there, but it's available someplace else and I can find a link, I'll put it there as well. Because I didn't actually make this video try to pimp a book. But yeah, so the First Succession War book is really good. Like, details, you know, everything that set everything in motion. as far as the amorous coup and everything, and then the Starlight Defense Force leaving, and highlights all the major actions. And there's a lot of very interesting battles described there. One of my favorites is one of the only ones that uses the land air mechs. It's out in space, if I recall correctly. They approach in fighter mode, basically go on a strafing attack, turn around, then as they're coming in, they transform into mech mode to get inside of, I don't remember if it's a base or a battleship out in space, and then destroy it from the inside. I thought that was a really impressive maneuver. But yeah, it's an excellent book. I need to finish the one about the Second Succession War. Now, there's unlikely to be one about the Third Succession War, because while the first two are fairly defined, the Third Succession War is basically just like, and here's everything that happened before the Fourth Succession War, with lots of low-level conflict everywhere for a long time. Because the result of the first two Succession Wars was that industry was basically bombed into oblivion. Border worlds had been, destroyed. Anything worth keeping, people had to try to start centrally locating deep into their own territories so that raids couldn't get to them. I don't know how many attempts were made to capture or destroy Hesperus 2, but yeah, just things like that. Like, things really escalated in the first two. There was very much everyone took the approach of, if I can't have it, no one can, and I'm going to use nukes to make sure of that. So yeah, but yeah, so so just to think, amidst that background, this stands out as like the most evil thing to my mind. So yeah, Kentares Massacre, bad stuff, Bad House Kirita. So that's all I've got to say on this one. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know if you heard of this before. Do you like these little bits? Like I said, I've only been able to get a few of them so far. I mainly have been having some schedule issues I've had schedule issues because it's easier for me to like watch a movie than talk about a movie. That's why I got a lot of videos like that here on the channel. Plus, I do really genuinely love movies, so I like talking about them. But as far as like the BattleTech stuff, one of my only issues is like say I'll read that in the First Succession War. For all I know, there's some other book out there that specifically details this and has just gobs of information in it, but I don't know anything about it. I've never read it. And so that's why I'm hesitant to do some of the lore stuff if I'm going back before the Dark Age setting, because I've read most of the novels for the Dark Age, and if some 50-50 on the source books, so I generally know if things are missing there or have an idea what they might be. But I'm having to backfill here because, like, even though I've been interested since the cartoon in the 90s, I didn't do a lot of reading on the subject up to that point. So it's mainly been that. I have now long forgotten the plots to Mech Warriors 2, 3, and 4, the video games. And so, I'm having to kind of go back, and at some point I got to start reading all the old novels. But that's going to require me to get ahead of the current novels. So anyway, I'm rambling. I've gone past my short video that I wanted to do here. So like I said, just let me know down in the comments what you think of these. Anything in particular you want me to try to look into, talk about. I'll probably be using this to do the faction deep dives that I've talked about. And the Highlanders are not going to be the first one because I want to show off some of my painted mechs. But the Highlanders are going to be very shortly in this. So anyway, that's all I've got. So just remember, this being BattleTech, no guts, no galaxy.